Oh, the light. Oh, there we go. There we go. My bags at. Okay, y'all. It look like we live, and I don't know why the lighting in here is so dark. See if we can get some more light in here. Let us see. We can get some more light. I guess it's gonna have to do because this is about as light as we gonna get it. All right. Hey y'all, I know this is impromptu, right? But I had a surge of courage and I'm like, you know what? I better strike while the iron is hot. So I'm just gonna wait a few minutes and get myself together, try to figure out how we gonna get this light better in here. And hopefully y'all got the video that I sent out telling you that I was going to go live. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes and then I shall start because whether it's 1,000 people in here or zero, I'm still going to deliver the message because I'm going to call those things that are not as though they are. Okay, y'all, let me see if I can get some more light going on in here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's light, but it don't look right. I don't like that. Okay. This is going to have to do. All right. It's going to have to do, y'all. I trust everyone is doing well and that today is a beautiful day and that it is definitely better than it was yesterday, right? So I am Pia, the Soul Mentor, and I am doing this live for several reasons. One is because I know that there is a big buzz here that's been going on for the past, year and a half now. Everyone is talking about therapy. People are waking up and they are realizing that there's parts of them that needs to be healed and that getting to the root of what's going on with them is very, very important. It's important to your soul because your soul needs to heal. You know, I talk a lot about how when we experience things in our lives, whether they are traumatic, dreadful, awful, or whatever, people do things to us, say things to us, and we don't heal it. Either we don't know how to, we're not even aware that we need to, and we don't know the implications of what happens when we don't do it. So what happens typically is that we will repress all of the emotions from those experiences way down deep. Okay. And if we leave the current life and not heal it, we're going to take that to the next life. And if something happens in that next life and we don't heal it there, then we're going to take it to the next life. So then when you hear me talk about becoming a bag lady, that's what I mean. We just dragging them bags from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I want to talk a little bit about traditional therapy, traditional talk therapy, where you are actually, telling a therapist what's going on with you because you're seeking answers. You are seeking healing. You want to heal. I'm going to talk about how, traditional therapy, the benefits of it is great, and I applaud all of the therapists out there who are doing great work, but it touches on what it can touch on. The issues of your soul is something totally different. That's why I believe that a lot of psychologists are now referring their patients to therapists like me because I offer therapy for the soul. Traditional therapy, you're going to receive the insights and you're going to receive the information. Past life regression hypnotherapy is the medicine that's going to heal you. So now I have, collected some questions that have been asked of me from people that have or are in right now therapy, and from people who are thinking about doing the traditional talk therapy. And so I've compiled a few of those questions from each set of people so that I can answer them. And if you guys have any questions, even if you are watching this on the replay, go ahead and put your questions down there and I'll be happy to answer them. So let me just start off by saying, defining what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is a technique that is used to put you in a super, super deep relaxed state. And when you get into this super relaxed state, you are fully aware. You are not asleep. If you were asleep, then you would not, you wouldn't be under hypnosis because you have to be aware of what's going on. So the hypnosis is going to relax you so that you can now go into the subconscious mind, which is what I call the library. Okay. Now, in this library, in your subconscious mind, is where all of your memories from every lifetime that you have ever lived. And as a living soul, you know that this right here will one day go away, but you are eternal. Your soul never dies, it just goes on to the next leg of the journey or to the next life. And so, in this library called the subconscious mind, inside of it are many, many books. Each lifetime you live has been written down in a book. Some call this the Akashic Records. Some call this the book of life. But in this library are all of the books from all of the lifetimes that you have lived. So your soul, therefore, is comprised of all of the lifetimes that you've lived, including the one that you are in right now. Okay? So that's hypnosis, just the technique that we use to get you into a really, really deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. So, now what is past life regression? Well, past life regression means to go back to a life that you have already lived. While you are under hypnosis, your soul is going to take you back to the very life that is impacting your current life today. Okay? So, now that we have gotten that out of the way, let's start with some of these questions. Get my notes here. All right. So I'm going to start off with the notes for the people that are currently in traditional therapy. But, and it's been a while, maybe 3 months, 6 months. Some of you may have been in therapy for years, and yet you're still seeking more. You're still seeking more. So I'm going to start off with those sets of questions first, okay? One of the questions is, how do I know if traditional therapy is enough or if I need something deeper, like PLR hypnotherapy? How would I know? And so my answer to that is, traditional therapy is going to give you a lot of information. It is also going to give you a lot of insight. Okay. but you don't get to experience that deep emotional release. You're not seeing the kind of change that you thought that you would have, seen after all of that time has gone. So then you would need to go down deeper. You may need to take a subconscious approach like PLR hypnotherapy and go down to that library, okay, and open up them books. So now, for example, you intellectually understand why you may have, let's just say, abandonment issues, right? You've talked to your therapist about that and you understand something happened when you were young. Maybe your mom wasn't there, maybe your dad wasn't there, and you understand all of that. You got that, right? But still, down deep, you fear to have relationships because in the back of your mind, in the pit of your soul, you still think that that person, if you let them get too close, that they are going to abandon you, just like that person that did it to you back in the day. Okay. Now, another question is, can past life regression help uncover childhood trauma that I just can't fully remember because it happened so long ago? And the answer to that is yes, it does. Because past life regression hypnotherapy, it bypasses the conscious. See, traditional therapy is dealing with your conscious mind, but hypnotherapy, past life regression hypnotherapy to be specific, it's going to bypass your conscious mind. Okay. And so when it goes down deep into your subconscious and it is looking at all of those repressed memories from your early childhood, a light can be shined on what happened, even if it was a long time ago, and even if you don't remember it, because sometimes the mind can push it down so far you don't remember it. The mind is trying to make you safe. So that can definitely happen. Like, let's just say, for example, a client that has unexplained panic attacks, right? Now, you have you've gone to therapy and you're making some progress, right? But nonetheless, something can trigger you, something you see, something you hear, something is triggering you. Okay? Something is triggering you and you don't know what it is. So then you come and have a PLR hypnotherapy session with me. And going through that process, you discover that there was an incident that happened in one of your past lives long ago, maybe when you were a child. And so now you can see it could have been that, um, there was a near drowning incident or something. And the fears from that, and all of the emotions that are connected to that just carried over because you did not get a chance to heal from that. Okay. Another question was she said, let's see, how did she say that thing? Look at my notes here. She said that her therapist tells her all the time, every session she goes to process your emotions. And she said she's been processing them, right? But she just does not feel like she is healing. So, how is PLR hypnotherapy different? And that's a great question. I like that question because nobody knows you like your soul knows you, right? Now, past life regression doesn't just process emotions, okay? It literally goes to the source of those emotions and shines a light on it, the origin, the root, okay? So that it helps you to release, those experiences and the trauma or the pain from a soul level. not from a surface level, from a soul level. You've heard that saying, you can't just keep cutting the weeds down. You can't cut the weeds because they're going to grow back, right? You got to go down to the root. You got to go down to the root and snatch it out. You got to pull it up from the root so that it don't grow back, and that way you heal it. You heal it like that. Let's say, for example, instead of like managing social anxiety, which a lot of people, they have challenges like that. Going through a past life regression session, it may reveal a past life where you were ridiculed, talked about, fingers pointing at you all the time, you know. And so because of that, even though you didn't do any harm to anybody, you actually healed people. And they were those same people that were pointing those fingers at you and talking about you were the same people who was knocking at your door under the cover of darkness. It's nighttime, ain't nobody gonna see me knocking on their door for you to help them. But now when they get amongst their peers and stuff, they're gonna be pointing their finger at you and saying that you this kind of way, and you crazy, and the ridicule and the shame and everything that came from that. You never healed from that, so you brought it down from lifetime to lifetime, and now it's in this lifetime rearing its head. Even though you're in therapy, it still triggers you. Okay, I hope that makes sense. um another question another question from someone that says that she keeps repeating the same emotional patterns over and over again, even though she is in therapy. You know, and she says, could that be linked to past life? Could it be linked to a past life? And I'm like, oh, well, absolutely. Because see, many of these patterns that we just keep repeating over and over and over again, these are karmic cycles. Okay. These are karmic cycles that have carried over, from lifetimes ago. They just never was healed. Like one of the ones that I see a lot is a client that is dealing with that same thing in this life, but when we were in the process of doing the hypnotherapy session, and she goes back to a life. In that lifetime, this client had been betrayed by the people that was closest to her heart. And that betrayal was deep, so deep. And it was not healed in that life. And so, it trickled down, it trickled down. She became a bag lady. And in this life, it's hard for her to trust the people that are closest to her. She only gonna let them get this close. They ain't gonna never come right here. Because in her mind, she feels like they are going to betray her. And she don't even know where it's coming from because these people never betrayed her. That's in her current life. And so it messes not only with her closest relationships, but business relationships, friendships, and things like that. So that's just a good example of that. um, can past life hypnotherapy help me with anxiety and depression if I'm already working with a therapist? I love that question right there. And the answer to that is definitely yes. Now, y'all know that anxiety and depression are first cousins, right? You got one that keeps you sad and depressed based on stuff that happened in the past. And then the other one gives you anxiety because of the fear of what they think might happen in the future. And both of them are impacting your present. And this is what I mean that, with traditional therapy, you get the insights, you get the information. But past life regression hypnotherapy is the medicine that you need to heal your soul. Because that's exactly what it is. It's therapy for the soul. If you have been dealing with lifelong depression and during a session, you in a past life, you uncover a scene where you're at the end of your life, and maybe there was no one around and something happened, and you transition and you were alone, and there was nobody there, nobody to hold your hand, nobody to encourage you, nobody to tell you that they loved you. And that sadness was so deep. There was nothing you could do, and then, you went on and transitioned, and you carried that sadness over to this life. Things like that, those things can be healed when I tell you, like that, like that. Not in months and years, like that. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. My clients can attest. Okay. Another one, um, another question was, um, this client, well, she wasn't a client. This was a lady who was in therapy, and she said that she had been in therapy for years. For years, I think it was like two years, a little bit over 2 years, and she said, "I still feel stuck. Why am I in therapy for that long and I still feel stuck?" You know, and so she is wondering if what's going on with her. Is it connected to some deeper karmic lesson that she's just missing, and it's not being addressed in her typical sessions with her therapist. And my answer to that is, yeah, absolutely. Because if you are stuck after that length of time, I'm thinking that your soul is trying to get you to complete a lesson that has not either been learned or resolved, or something from a past life. And the thing about it is, if you don't, if you don't heal from these lessons and traumas and experiences, it's just going to keep popping up over and over and over. You don't escape that stuff. You don't. You don't escape it. You do not escape it. So, my last question that I had for this set of people who are wondering, about the traditional therapy. The last one is: Is it possible that the root of my struggles did not start in this life? And did it may she said, is the root of the things that she's going through right now, is it possible that maybe it started in another time period or something? Because she was a little bit skeptical, and after I told her, some of the things that I've already shared with you in the previous 6 questions, I'm like, yeah, in a past life regression hypnotherapy session, you can process those past experiences while you are still, you know, in the session. And it is possible. Like, for instance, in a past life, you may have drowned. I use drowning a lot because a lot of people have drowned in past lives. Y'all just don't know. So it's always fresh in my mind. But that incidence can trace back to that past life where maybe you were on a ship and something happened. There was a big storm and the ship, capsized and you drowned at sea. And just releasing the memories from that incident can set you free in this life right here. Understanding that you are the author and the finisher of your faith. You can write your story. You can change the narrative. You can rewrite your story too. So now, does that give you like a good idea of how um how past life regression hypnotherapy versus traditional talk therapy is? Now, I got a few questions for those people who tried traditional talk therapy, but they still stuck. And some of them feel like, it helped a little bit, but it they didn't get the outcome that they were wanting to get. And this set of questions here is also for those who are thinking about doing it. Okay. So the first question is, this person says that they still feel lost. Therapy is not like giving them the answers that they needed to get. It just didn't. It gave them a lot of information. They did a lot of talking. The therapist did a lot of listening, and they didn't. You know, they're still having those challenges, and so I had to let them know, by giving them examples of struggling with getting those answers, in traditional talk therapy, because, I have to be careful with what I say, because I'm not trying to downplay how therapists do their work at all. They can only do what they have been trained to do. But they were not trained to heal the soul. Okay. Now, um, so like a client that is struggling with her purpose, knowing what her purpose is, and seeing themselves as a healer, okay, in a past life, right? And gaining clarity on their calling in this life, okay? That's the kind of thing that happens when you are doing hypnotherapy. You can see what your purpose was then. You can see the gifts that you worked with then. It will unlock some of the gifts that have been made dormant in the past that you need in this life right here. So there's a lot of benefits to that too. This one lady said that her therapist focused on coping strategies, but she wanted to heal at the root. And she was like, I know how to cope. I know how to make do. I know how to put the band-aid on, but I don't want to keep putting the band-aid on. I need some medicine. That's what I want. And so hypnotherapy, past life regression hypnotherapy, it's just not about managing the symptoms. I'll be the first to tell you that it truly is about going to the root. It's about going to the root, shining the light on what that is causing that challenge to happen and to continue to happen. So it's very, very effective in that. Um, another another question. Um, what she said. She talked to her therapist over and over about her trauma. She said for months, almost a year, over and over about her trauma, but nothing changed. Nothing changed. So how is PLR hypnotherapy different from that? Don't I have to keep coming in there talking to you over and over again? That's a valid question. It was kind of funny though. What's the difference? And the difference is not that this is not talk therapy. Yes, I am your guide. And yes, when you get on that soul train, yes, we're going to be going to different stops in your life and in the past. But your soul knows exactly where it needs to go to heal. See, that's the beauty of it. Your soul already knows. You just need to come on for the ride. Because it's going to take you right there where it needs to go. Some people think that, when I'm doing the past life regression, I bet you I'm going to go back to a past life when I was a queen and I was rich and powerful and beautiful and this and that. And I was a great ruler and leader and all this kind of stuff like that. If that life don't have nothing to do with what you're going through right now, I don't think you're gonna go back to that life. I ain't seen it yet. I'm just saying. I have not seen it yet. I am just saying. But your soul knows where it needs to go to heal. So it's going to take you It's going to take you right back there. And so you get to see what happened, how you responded. You're going to see the players that took part in what happened with you. You can see how the trauma unfolded, your reactions to it, what you did to help yourself, what you didn't do to help the situation. You're going to see all of that. So then once you get clear on it, now you know what happened. You know what happened, and you also know how to navigate your life in the present too. That's the difference right there. So it's not going to be, you know, like the traditional talk therapy. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions because I'm guiding you. And so you'll be telling me different things, and we're going to go through that process, and we're going to heal from that. One other lady said she has done a whole lot of inner child work in therapy, which is what her therapist wanted her to do a lot of inner child work, but she is still feeling that she is emotionally blocked. And she wanted to know how can past life regression, or if it can help her. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because past life regression can take the inner child healing further and deeper by addressing those wounds that happened a long time ago and still affecting you right now. So, so yes, absolutely. I got one more question here. Let's see. I think I got this one on my computer. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, that one. Someone emailed me that one. It says, what makes the past life regression hypnotherapy more powerful than the traditional talk therapy for healing emotional pain? I'm like, all right now. And so my answer to that is that past life regression hypnotherapy heals at the soul level because it uncovers, okay, and it understands and it releases, all of those unresolved experiences across many, many lifetimes. Just like, for instance, a woman stuck in a toxic relationship, and she's going through the session, right? And she discovers that this repeated pattern um, of just betrayal from her lover, right? And she said in the regression, I will never ever get into another relationship like that. I might date, you know, but I will never, I ain't never given my heart like that. Never, ever. I'm just not going to do it. And so that even crossed over to this life right here. And the therapist was not tapping into that, but she had made a commitment. She placed that intention on her own self lifetimes ago that I will never. We got to be careful with our words, right? Because our words are powerful. They have the power of life and death. It's in the power of the tongue. No matter if you speak it in this life or that life, it will transcend space, time, and continuum. It's like a ripple, and it goes throughout the entire universe. And so once we discovered that, because she was in a relationship and on the verge of losing that relationship because the man that she obviously had feelings with, she just wouldn't release it, wouldn't let it go. So we dealt with that, healed that. And guess what? Guess who married? Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I am just saying. So yeah, those are some of the questions, and I hope that this has given you some insight on the difference between the traditional talk therapy versus PLR hypnotherapy. If y'all want to, get a little bit more information on it, I do have a brand new ebook called Beyond Talk Therapy. And I'll leave the link down in the description. Go ahead and download it and read it. It's a beautiful ebook. It's a beautiful ebook and it is powerful. It may take you about an hour and a half to read it. It's not very long. It's straight to the point. So again, thank you so much. If you have to watch it on the replay and you didn't have a chance to ask your questions, leave them in the chat, and I will I'll reach out and answer them. Let's connect. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk.